There are some men who are good, but not worthy of being loved. Sounds harsh, but it's the truth. A man can be gentle, smart, full of potential, but if he lacks integrity, if he's emotionally immature, if he doesn't respect your boundaries, then all that goodness is just a shell. A high-value woman doesn't chase sweet words. She chooses stability, respect, and the freedom to be fully herself, and to protect that, she has to learn not to run after men who aren't ready. In this video, I'll share with you 10 types of men that a high-value woman will never chase. 1. The inconsistent one, the disappearing act. A high-value woman doesn't chase half-hearted texts, delayed plans, or promises that never become action. She used to be patient, used to give people time to figure things out. But then she realized someone who's inconsistent is someone who's not certain enough to hold on to her. One day, he cares, the next, he's silent. Warm and present one moment, gone like a ghost the next. That's not being busy. That's a subtle form of manipulation, showing up when it suits him, pulling away when she starts to believe. She's no longer staying to wonder, how will he be today? She doesn't need love to be perfect, but it must be consistent. Because if someone can't show up fully, she will walk away, just as fully as she once chose to stay. 2. The emotionally unavailable, the one who won't open up. A high-value woman doesn't expect someone to be perfect, but she does need them to be truly present. Let me give you an example. Emily, an American woman working in education, once shared her story of dating a man who was perfect on paper, stable, kind, well-mannered, but every time she opened up about her real emotions, her fears, her low days, he would pull away, avoid the conversation, shut down emotionally. His favorite line, "You're overthinking this," Emily said. What hurt her most wasn't that he left, it was that he was never really there to begin with. She didn't walk away because she stopped loving him. She walked away because loving someone while still feeling completely alone was something she could never allow herself to go through again. Have you ever been in a situation like that? Share your thoughts in the comments below. 3. The control freak, the man who needs to control. A high-value woman doesn't chase a man who makes her feel like she needs permission just to be herself. She didn't come to love just to be monitored, and she certainly didn't come to be suffocated. Inside a golden cage disguised as care, she's sensitive enough to know the difference between genuine love and control dressed up as concern, because when love starts with tracking, with interference, with suspicion over every tiny action, that's no longer a connection between two souls. That's power. That's ego. That's possession wearing a mask called protection. He might say, "I do this because I love you," but she no longer believes excuses that slowly strip away her freedom piece by piece. The more he tries to hold her tightly, the more suffocated she becomes. Because love, when it's real, doesn't confine you, it frees you. And once the feeling of being herself disappears, so does her reason to stay. She wasn't born to shrink, just to fit inside someone else's insecurity. To her, a real relationship is where both people can breathe together, not where one has to fold themselves up just to fit into a narrow frame someone else built. And if she has to lose herself in order to be loved, then that love isn't worth having. 4. The player, the one who toys with her emotions. A high-value woman doesn't chase a man who makes her wonder, am I being truly loved or just tested? She used to hope, used to believe the uncertainty was just a phase. He's good at creating emotion, knows how to make her feel special, knows exactly what to say and when to say it. But after the warmth comes cold silence. After the sweet words comes the emptiness of no follow-through. He loves, like a player, conquering to feed his ego, then walking away. To him, emotion is a chase, not a commitment. She no longer has the patience for this kind of love. She's tired of guessing how a man feels. One day he cares, the next day he disappears. One moment he's all in, then suddenly he's gone like he was never there. She once thought, maybe I just need to be softer. But now she knows real love doesn't make you question it every day. It's not a game of push and pull. When she learned to love herself fully, she no longer craved butterflies. She craved peace. And peace never comes from someone who plays with your heart. She didn't walk away because she was hurt. She walked away because she was finally strong enough to choose what was kind, what was steady, what was true, and that will never be found in a man who still isn't ready to stop and love with his whole heart. 5. The project, the man who needs to be fixed. A high-value woman doesn't enter a relationship to be a mentor, a second mother, or an emotional engineer for a man who hasn't built himself yet. She didn't come to heal anyone, and she definitely didn't come to carry responsibilities that someone else keeps avoiding. He may have been hurt, he may be going through a tough time, but if he can't stand on his own, then he's not ready to walk beside her. Because love is not a rehab center, it's a journey where two strong people grow forward together. She once believed, love is enough, but now she knows, loving without a solid foundation only drains her. As she's forced to carry the weight of someone who refuses to grow up, she's not abandoning anyone, but she won't sacrifice herself either, just to patch together a man who hasn't learned to take ownership of his life. She doesn't need a project to fix, she needs a man who's ready to stand, not cling, by her side. 6. The manipulator, the emotional manipulator. A high-value woman does not trade her inner peace just to hold on to a relationship that constantly makes her doubt herself. She's been there, she's endured, she's stayed quiet just to keep the peace. She used to go silent, to avoid another argument. Even when she was breaking inside, she used to apologize for things she was simply feeling. She used to believe, if I'm softer, calmer, maybe things will be okay again. But then she realized the problem was never how she expressed her heart. The problem was how he manipulated it. Subtle, silent, but heavy. A man who truly loves her would never use silence as punishment. He wouldn't shut down. Just because he didn't want to face real emotion, he wouldn't make her feel guilty for being honest about her truth. A manipulator doesn't need to scream. He just needs to make you feel like you are always the problem. And over time, she started to believe it, that she was too sensitive, too much, too demanding. But one day, she stopped believing that lie. She stood up and walked away from the loop between love and self-doubt. Not because she was broken, but because she had learned to love herself. Enough to know this: real love will never make you feel wrong. And if every day you carry the weight of guilt just for being yourself, that's not love, that's how you lose who you are. 7. The self-centered, the man who only sees himself. A high-value woman doesn't chase a man whose world revolves only around him. Every conversation starts with him and ends with him. He's busy, he's stressed, he needs to be heard. But when it's her turn, when she needs presence, just a little understanding, he's nowhere to be found. She used to be patient, used to tell herself, he's just under pressure. But when lack of care repeats itself, it's no longer an oversight, it becomes a pattern, and selfishness dressed up as being busy. She doesn't need a man to fix all her problems. She just needs him to pause, to listen, to show up when she's not okay. That's all. But for someone who only sees his own reflection, even that feels like too much. A high-value woman knows love cannot grow when it's always one-sided. And if she has to stay silent, just so he can keep shining, then that light was never meant for her. She walks away, no blame, no drama, just a woman who finally knows the space she truly deserves to belong to. 8. The bare minimum man, the one who does just enough. A high-value woman doesn't stay in a relationship where she's always the one keeping the fire alive. He shows up, but only when he has time. He texts, but only a few short words. He loves her in the easiest, most convenient way possible and expects that to be enough. She doesn't need grand gestures, but she does need effort. She needs presence that feels real, not attention given out of obligation, but love offered by choice. She used to wonder, am I asking for too much? Until she realized she wasn't asking, she was hoping for a mature connection. A man who invests the bare minimum emotionally, yet expects to be loved wholeheartedly, is not someone ready to build anything lasting. and she, after everything she's been through, is no longer here to keep something half alive. If love is a flame, she can't be the only one feeding it. She doesn't want to love just to become the only one trying. She wants love that walks beside her. If you always have to be the one to initiate, to reconnect, to hold it all together, then it's no longer love, it's survival. Step back, don't hold on to someone who's no longer reaching for your hand. Love is not meant to be carried by one person alone. 9. The non-committed, the one who can't commit, the half-hearted man, is someone a high-value woman always watches with caution. He's not terrible, he doesn't do anything that wrong, but he's never truly clear. He says, maybe later, when she asks about the future. He smiles, he makes promises, but never follows through. He stays just close enough to keep her there, but distant enough that she can never truly hold on. She once believed he was just figuring things out, told herself that patience would bring clarity. But then she realized ambiguity isn't a phase, it's a choice. His vagueness is not confusion, it's a sugar-coated rejection. Sweet, warm, but calculated, and it traps her in a loop of fragile hope. She begins to doubt herself, asking, am I rushing things? Am I asking for too much? But eventually she understands a man who truly loves her will never leave her waiting in uncertainty. He will be brave, he will be decisive, he will show up fully. So she stops waiting. She lets go of a heart that isn't ready. She no longer chases a future that only exists in words. She doesn't need love to be complicated, but it must be clear. She doesn't need flowery promises, just a man who means what he says. To her, uncertainty is no longer mysterious or romantic. It's a waste of time, and loving herself means knowing when to walk away at the right moment, to save her heart for something and someone truly worth it. 10. The insecure one who competes with her growth. A high-value woman never chooses a man who sees her success as a threat. Instead of celebrating her growth, he feels small next to it and turns the relationship into a quiet competition. This kind of man lacks confidence. He doesn't have the strength to be proud of the woman beside him. So instead he compares, he criticizes, or worse, he tries to make her shrink, just so he can feel bigger. But a high-value woman will never dim her light to protect the fragile ego of an insecure man. She knows her worth. She honors her journey. She respects the work she's put into becoming who she is. And rather than tone herself down to ease his discomfort, she will choose the man who sees her as inspiration, who supports her, and feels proud when she rises. A healthy relationship helps both people grow. It's not a contest of who's ahead or who shines more, because real love is never afraid of someone else's brilliance. A high-value woman doesn't define herself by who chases her, but by what and who she chooses to let go of. Not everyone deserves your time, your heart, or your energy. And that's not arrogance, that's awareness. Remember this. Real love doesn't leave you confused. It doesn't make you question your worth or shrink yourself to fit inside someone else's life. Real love gives you space to grow, to be fully yourself and still be deeply loved. So love with your whole heart, but never forget to use your mind, to choose the right person to walk beside you. Don't chase the man who makes you forget your value, because the one who's truly worthy will never let you run after him.